Okay, my beautiful friends, let me just start off with this. It's freaking over, okay? It is over. This economy, it's the global economy is done. Absolutely done. And despite what you're going to hear coming out of mummy presidents and central bankers who are hell bent on some kind of a twisted agenda, literally, and I mean this, to literally take over the entire freaking world, well, that's what's going on. It is Thursday, July 14th, 2022. The bad economic news doesn't stop. And again, we're getting more lies, more deceptions, more propaganda than you can possibly imagine. So let's just start off with some of the basic economic news. Producer prices come in, imagine my shock and yours, higher than expected. Inflation is out of control. Food, energy, everything connected to it. And if you hear a single person, I don't care who it is, mummified presidents or central bankers or some other imbecile on the mainstream trying to tell you that inflation is peaking, they're lying to you. In no way, shape, or form is inflation peaking here. It was not transitory. You and I knew this from day one. I came out here laughing my ass off, explaining that this whole transitory things was nonsense. Then it was peaking. Then it was peaking again. All garbage. And I don't know what they're going to try to fist feed you. But you haven't seen anything yet here. So, producer prices surging out of control. Inflation overall skyrocketing. No end in sight here. First-time unemployment claims come in unexpectedly higher. Like I said, it doesn't stop here. And just to push that point home here, let's talk about how the prospect or the possibility of a recession is being downplayed by mummified presidents and central bankers. The entire yield curve, you and I have been, we've been talking about this. Yeah, it's inverted, no secret. But right now, it is severely inverted. I mean, it's out of control, what we're seeing now. And look, what is this telling you and I? Nothing that we don't know already. We are so far beyond recession right now, but you're not supposed to know that. You're supposed to think our economy is great, it's booming, we couldn't possibly be doing better. It's part of the deception, the propaganda, the look here, don't look here. People are getting wiped out on a biblical scale, if you want to use that term. It's an astonishing thing to see. The pressure is not going to stop. It's going to keep getting harder and harder for people to make ends meet they can't do it. Why do you think people are borrowing beyond their eyeballs? Loans are being defaulted on. And it's a nightmare scenario, I think, honestly, for most members of the middle class, if not all of them. They're being deliberately attacked. They're being pushed down to the lower rung of society here, being made slaves to the system, slaves to a beast system, period. And you all know that. So let's go look over at the stock market. Right now, stock futures are deeply in the red, pointing towards a pretty substantial sell-off right at the open. Is some miracle going to occur? Are they going to get in here, the Fed? Because they don't buy the stock market. No, they don't. Obviously, they buy the stock market, people. On top of the entire yield curve being now what I would say severely inverted, you got a 10-year yield lower here. Who's buying all the debt? Well, I'm going to give you one big guess. Ding, 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 ding. It's the freaking Federal Reserve, European Central Bank. And they're determined to buy it all. And if anyone is buying the nonsense, I know it's not you, that central banks care about inflation. Oh, yeah, we're going to get a 100 basis point rise to the federal funds rate because the Fed is so serious about containing inflation. Really? Is that why they continue to buy it all? Why they continue to inflate? Why they continue to keep the federal funds rate suppressed? Even if we get a 100 basis point hike to the federal funds rate, it's not going to matter. It's not going to stop the pace of inflation from rising. In fact, it's probably going to accelerate. Why? because they're doing everything in their power to make sure that happens. Central banks are continuing to inflate. That's their goal, period. You all know that. All right, let's move forward here. Gold and especially silver are getting hammered right now, people. Imagine my shock here. Crude oil under some pressure. Bitcoin hovering around 19,700. And crude is under some pressure too. Look, it's not going to stop. You all know that. And as I have been explaining to you, it's every man and every woman for himself. But the bigger issue that you need to concern yourself with is a liquidity lockup, a freezing up of the system, which is going to happen. It's going to happen again by design. People realize that this already did happen in 2008 here when we had the meltdown, the economic meltdown globally, kind of like what we're seeing today. But you have to understand, it's much, much worse. There is no comparison to the last meltdown to what we are seeing now, because global debt is vastly greater and it's going to continue to expand until we hit that moment of maximum saturation, and that's going to be it in a nanosecond. All of this is going to stop. What do you need to do? How do you prepare yourself for a lockup of the system? You're going to need some cash on hand, okay? Pull some of your cash out of your bank, if you even have any, okay? And keep it somewhere safe, because if the system locks up, there's going to be no way to use debit cards. No, credit cards aren't going to work. Nothing is going to... And I'll tell you something else. The bigger picture is, as this accelerates and things get progressively worse, and they will, you're going to see more, not only food and energy inflation, but you're going to see stores starting to become cleaned out. So you need a stash. You need to put away enough food and water to sustain yourself for what may be a sustained period of time. We must prepare for a worst case scenario, and that would be a lockup of the entire system. Again, don't you imagine in your wildest dreams that this is by accident. We're being pushed in that direction by runaway central banks, along with puppet governments and mummified presidents. You understand? Nothing is what it seems to be, okay? A new system is going to be released. Maximum control, okay? That's how it's going to play out. But they need an extreme outcry for it to happen. The entire system that we have now must, fall apart, okay? And they're making sure we are moving very rapidly to that kind of a situation here. But I'll tell you something else. Although we've seen the stock market take a pretty big hit, despite unprecedented effort by central banks to keep rates suppressed here, bond yields, it's not working, as you can see here. But the real meltdown, this is nothing. The real meltdown is going to be when we get another uncontrolled spike in that 10-year yield. It's going to happen. A lot of effort is going into stabilize the debt market, to stop it from fragmenting. Okay, this is the European Central Bank's word. You know what they're doing: emergency monetary policy, Federal Reserve following suit, unconventional policy. But what all they're doing here is exacerbating the underlying issue here. Henceforth, why you had the IMF yesterday explaining another global debt crisis is coming. What are they saying? Debt crisis, liquidity crisis, credit crisis, all the same. It's all the same. So you must prepare for a worst case scenario. And I mean a worst case scenario. Start thinking about what this means for you. Like I said, you need a stash of food, water. You need to have some cash on hand. And I'll tell you something else, people. You need a way to defend yourself. You should expect pandemonium to break out in the streets. Again, they need a humongous, crazy outcry from the people in aggregate in order to allow their new system of maximum control to be instituted. And there's going to be so great a cry from the people of the world looking to the same institutions who have brought this upon us for help. It's the same scenario we always see. It's astonishing to me, people, but really think about what you need to do immediately to prepare for what's coming. I think we've all known about it. It's here now. It's really starting to unfold, but you haven't seen anything yet. Mark my words, you haven't seen a damn thing yet. So I was writing a few things down. Let me just make sure I got this all done. So producer prices come in higher than expected. Market is about to crater at the open. Yield curve severely inverted. The White House, the Federal Reserve, they're downplaying recession. They can't let you know that we're in a depression right now. You all know that. And first-time unemployment claims coming in worse than expected. Imagine my shock. Imagine your shock. All right, look, I'm going to let you all go. Please comment here. Please share the video. Get it out there. I'll see you at the end of the day, and I'm looking forward to that. See ya.